again, everybody. It's week 2 of the NFL season. We're back with another record predictions video. Last week we went 10-6. Not the greatest thing ever, but I did pick some crucial games. I did pick some upsets, and that's just kind of what got me out of it. I mean, obviously, my lock of the game last week did not go so well. I picked Dolphins over Colts. They got destroyed by Daniel Jones, and I regret that decision a lot. I think Falcons over Buccaneers was a reasonable pick, and they just lost off a missed field goal, which would have brought them to overtime, and they would have had a chance. I think I had Bears over Vikings. I know I had Ravens over Bills. That was a super sell by the Ravens, and obviously the Bears kind of sold in the second half, especially in the fourth quarter. I had Texans over Rams because we didn't know what Matthew Stafford would be like heading into the season. Obviously, the Rams went out and beat them 14-9 in a ugly game. I presume I didn't watch it, but that's probably just how it was. Packers, I picked over the Lions. They did. They destroyed them. I brought up how I brought up how both their coordinators left, and we didn't see how that would work. So, I mean, reasonable loss. Plus, Packers just got Micah Parsons. I did pick Broncos over Titans, Niners over Seahawks, Raiders over Patriots, Bengals over Browns. Really bad game from both of those teams. I mean, the Bengals only won by a point. Obviously, I said Buccaneers, Falcons. I picked Falcons. I had Commanders over Giants, Cardinals over Saints, Jaguars over Panthers, Steelers over Jets in a massive shootout. I had Dolphins over Colts. They lost. I had Chiefs over Chargers. They lost. And I had Eagles over Cowboys, who won. But enough of last week. Let's move on to this week. And to start off the week 2 slate, we have Commanders at Packers. This is going to be a really good game. Obviously, Commanders in their respect. Jane Daniels went off last week, 19 to 30, 233 yards and a touchdown. Obviously, in the rushing game, they obviously traded Brian Robinson. Ja'Cory Krusky-Merritt seems to be taking the helm with 10 carries, 82 yards, and a touchdown. And Deebo Samuel came out like a dog last week against the Giants. 7 receptions, 77 yards, 11 average yards per reception. And this team's going to be really lethal, obviously, on the defensive side of the ball. They didn't do much. They had 2 sacks. That's actually pretty decent. But, on the other hand, this Green Bay team obviously beat the Lions in a good game from Jordan Love, 16 to 22, 180 yards, 2 touchdowns. Josh Jacobs had 19 carries, 66 yards, 1 touchdown. He was efficient. Romeo Doubs had some receiving yards to add on to that. And that defense looked really good at getting to Jared Goff, especially with their good O-line. So, I think if I had to pick here, honestly, I'd give the Packers the advantage here at home against the Commanders. I just feel like that's going to be a really close game. Either team could come out on top, but I'm going to take the Packers in a close game at home versus the Commanders. Next up, Giants at Cowboys. I mean, we all know who's going to win this game. The Giants, they don't seem to have a solution at the quarterback position. Obviously, they got not insanely blown out, but Russell Wilson was extremely inefficient, missed 20 of his passes, only had 160 yards. He did have some carries on the ground, but it's just not enough. Malik Neighbors popped off, like maybe their only good sight in that game versus the Commanders. They did have 2 sacks by Brian Burns. I'm not sure that's going to do much. Multiple half sacks from other guys as well. But it's just not going to be enough versus this Cowboys team who competed with the Eagles in the spit game. Obviously, I mean, Javonte Williams popped off 15 carries, 54 yards, 2 TDs. CeeDee Lamb made some crucial plays in the game, but he also made crucial drops, and that's what lost them this game versus the Eagles. Dak played pretty good, I'd like to say. But, I mean, it's just going to be an easy game for the Cowboys here. They're going to bounce back here in week 2 versus the Giants. I have them beating them. Seahawks at Steelers. I think this is going to be a good game. Obviously, Steelers at Jets. the only reason the Steelers won this game was because of Aaron Rodgers, 22 of 32, 44 yards and 4 touchdowns. And as a Steelers fan, I'm proud to say that Aaron Rodgers might be the solution at the quarterback position. Obviously, the run game was not established in this game. DK with multiple drops, but he still cooked 4 receptions, 83 yards. Calvin Austin looked like a dog out there with 4 receptions for 70 yards and a TD. Jaylen Warren had a receiving touchdown, Ben Skoranek as well, and obviously Arthur Smith was cooking on the goal line, and Jonnu Smith got a receiving touchdown as well. But the Steelers could not do what they are meant to do and establish that run game. And this defense let Breece Hall run all over them. Breece Hall had a really good stat line of 19 carries for 107 yards, a 5.6 average on the day, but no touchdowns. Justin Fields got 2 of the touchdowns respectfully in that game. Obviously, Garrett Wilson did a lot, but Jalen Ramsey won the Steelers this game off a popped-off ball and Chris Boswell's 60-yard field goal, a career long. The Seahawks, however, if I can pull up their game right now, Seahawks lost to the 49ers in a close game, but they were at home. Brock Purdy threw 2 interceptions in this game, and somehow they still ended up losing. Zach Charbonnet had 12 carries for 47 yards. Sam Darnold didn't look that efficient, 16 to 23 for 150. JSN is going to be this team's wide receiver 1, and he's going to be good at it. Cooper Kupp didn't do much. This offense didn't really do much. The defense had only 1 sack, but they did have multiple interceptions, and that this defense might be a good strong point for this team. And if this offense gets going, I could see them toppling the Steelers here. But I'm not going to go against what the Steelers are going to do here. I think this defense is going to bounce back, and they are going to beat the Seahawks in their home stadium, at Acrisure / Heinz Field. They shouldn't have renamed it, but it's going to be a good game. If this Steelers run game can get going and this defense turns back up, this is definitely going to be a good team. The Seahawks, just too questionable at the moment. Sam Darnold, we don't know if he's actually going to be good without Justin Jefferson, and I just don't have them beating the Steelers here. Rams at Titans, I think this is pretty self-explanatory. Matt Stafford, with a decent stat line last week, 21 to 29, 245, and a touchdown. Kyren Williams, 18 carries, 66 yards, 1 touchdown. Puka Nacua had a great game, 10 receptions, 130. Obviously, we came into week 1 without knowing what Matthew Stafford would be like, and he did pretty good. He proved everyone wrong. This defense had multiple sacks on the day, and this Titans team, they did not do great. Cam Ward had 12 of 28 for 112 yards, very inefficient. Tony Pollard, very inefficient. He had 1 reception, and he was their leading receiver. So, just not really good. Just not at all what you want to see. So, I'm going to have the Rams beating Cam Ward's Titans in Tennessee. I mean, it's just too self-explanatory. The Rams are better. The Titans are in a rebuilding phase. Just makes more sense. Bills at Jets, however. Obviously, Justin Fields, a surprise player from last week's game versus the Steelers, did everything he could to win that game, and he still couldn't win. Aaron Rodgers single-handedly carried that team, as I said before. Justin Fields was 16 22, 218 yards, 1 TD. Obviously, Breece Hall carried that rushing offense through. Garrett Wilson was a dog in that game. And I think the Jets are going to be a really good team, actually. They're able to hang around with these top dogs, and they can definitely compete. Just the Steelers outscored them on offense despite an inefficient offense. In the run game, and this offensive line crumbled quickly, obviously. But that just might be because of the Jets' defense. The Jets' defense had multiple sacks on the day, and, they tried really hard to beat the Steelers, and they just couldn't. And it all comes down to that 1 turnover on special teams, and that's what loses football games, turnovers. So if the Jets can avoid turnovers, this could be a really good game. But it's obviously the Bills. Buffalo. Holy cow, what a game last week. I'd love to talk about it. I mean, Josh Allen had, more passing yards than half the league's starting quarterbacks. In the fourth quarter alone, he went 33 of 46 for 394 yards, 2 TDs in the game. James Cook had 13 carries, 44 yards, and a TD. Keon Coleman with a great stat line. I mean, gosh, was it amazing. 8 receptions, 112 yards, and a TD. Khalil Shakir was efficient. They spread this ball out well in Buffalo with a decent running game to complement it. Obviously, with Josh Allen getting in for 2 scores on the ground himself. I'm going to take Buffalo here, heading into New York. I'd love to give the Jets a chance. They will play well this season. I believe that. We saw that in MetLife. They just couldn't get the job done against the Steelers. And I think the Bills just the better opponent here, and they're going to get the win. Patriots at Dolphins. Boy, the Dolphins looked really shaky last week versus the Colts. Obviously, a blowout loss to Indianapolis and Danny Dimes. Tua responsible for 2 turnovers. Tyreek Hill didn't do much out there. Obviously, he's the star receiver for that team. They had Jalen Waddle. He didn't do much. Devon Achane was kind of the bright spot on this team. Didn't do much defensively. I mean, just a horrible game for the Dolphins. Daniel Jones, 22-29, 272 yards and a TD, obviously crushed this Dolphins team, and they shouldn't have. Obviously, Daniel Jones also had 2 rushing touchdowns on the ground, and this Dolphins team just doesn't look like it used to. And I think that's the only reason the Patriots might win this game. I mean, obviously, Drake May had 30 of 46 passes, 287, and a touchdown, along with a pick. Not that great, but he is a second-year player, and you got to give him time. Kayshon Boutte looked good in this game. But the Patriots lost to the Raiders. As we were to assume, I mean, Geno Smith didn't. Yeah, he did decent. I mean, he had 24, 34, 362, and a touchdown along with a pick. Brock Bowers did really good in the passing game. So did Jacoby Myers. But this Patriots team, I think it might just be good enough to beat the Dolphins. I don't know what the Dolphins are doing. Honestly, as an organization, I don't know what they're doing. I mean, Tyreek Hill is just such a questionable player, and Tua just gets his brain smacked around in his cranium every single day. So I'm going to take the Patriots to win away from the Dolphins here in Week 2. Jaguars are at Bengals. Boy, is there a lot to talk about this Bengals team. What happened versus the Browns? Joe Burrow looked super inefficient, 14-23, 113 yards and a TD. Chase Brown had 21 carries, but only 43 yards and a single touchdown. T. Higgins was the leading receiver for this team. Jamar Chase was nowhere to be seen. I mean, he had 2 receptions, 26 yards. That's it. And this Browns team, which is considered to be horrible, by the way. I mean, they had multiple turnovers in this game. The Browns, at least. And they still couldn't win the game. I mean, the Bengals didn't have a single turnover. The Browns had 2. The Browns nearly beat the Bengals here. Lost by 1 point. They had more than, 200 passing yards than them. Rushing yards, they had more rushing yards. They had more yards per play. Bengals only had 2.9 yards per play. And the Bengals just had 6 punts, and that's not really that good. However, this Jaguars team, I mean, boy, they won by 16 points against Bryce Young and the Panthers. I mean, I originally had them winning. I had the Jaguars winning in my record predictions video. They did sneak up a win here. Trevor Lawrence didn't look that great. 19-31, 178, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. Travis Etienne, really a bright spot. 16 carries, 143. Brenton Strange was the leading receiver against the Panthers. But I mean, you just need to get this team together, all right? And I know the Bengals always have slow starts. I know that. So, obviously, both of these teams looked really mid in week 1. But I'm going to take the Bengals here over the Jaguars solely because I think this team can rebound after a close win. They still snuck out the win. So did the Jaguars, but I think the Bengals at home are the stronger opponent versus the Jags. Next up, 49ers at Saints. Honestly, we don't know what's happening with the 49ers. We don't know if Brock Purdy's going to play. Obviously, George Kittle's out now. And we just don't know. We don't know. There's so many questions with this 49ers team, and I don't have all the information. We don't know who's going to play. We don't know if Brock Purdy's going to be there. We don't know if George Kittle's going to be there. We don't know about some of these players, and they only snuck out a win against the Seahawks by 4. Which, while not bad, and they still won the game, I mean, the Saints, they didn't do well either. I mean, obviously, they're a much worse team than the 49ers. But they only lost to the Cardinals by 7. Spencer Rattler didn't have a single touchdown, but he did go to 27 of 46 for 214 yards. Kamara didn't look that bad. 11 carries, 45 yards, 1 touchdown. Jawan Johnson did pretty good for the Saints. And, I mean, the Saints defense had a lot of sacks. And they were able to fight against a competent Cardinals team. And I just clicked on something. Okay. Anyways, I just think this 49ers team is just too good. I'd love to say, even if the 49ers backup QB came in, I'd like to say the Saints would win. Wait, am I even looking at the right thing here? Oh no, I looked at week 3. Okay. 49ers still out. Okay. But yeah, I think even if the 49ers put some of their backups in, especially at the QB spot, I think the Saints would still lose just because of the amount of talent. We don't know if Brock Purdy's going to play, though. We just don't. George Kittle, he's a receiving option, but we just don't know what's going to happen with him. I mean, Brock Purdy, obviously, Mr. Irrelevant, he's been good for a few years, but he just can't put it together. And, I mean, obviously, George Kittle's on IR, and we just don't know what's happening. We don't. Let me try and find some info right now. I mean, there's just no info. George Kittle is expecting to miss a few weeks. I mean, we just don't know what's going to happen. And I'd like to say we do, but we just don't. I'm going to still take the 49ers to win here, even despite their injuries. I just can't fully prove that Brock Purdy's going to be out right now. And if he is in, they're definitely going to win this game against the Saints. So I'm going to take 49ers over Saints in New Orleans. Browns at Ravens, I think this is self-explanatory. Browns, obviously, had a decent game versus the Bengals. I mean, decent in the easiest way to say it and the nicest way to say to Browns fans. I mean, Joe Flacco had 2 picks on the day, and Dylan Sampson was their leading rusher with 29 yards. But Jerry Jeudy, I mean, he had 5 of 66. Dylan Simpson had 8 of 64. Harold Finn had 7 for 63. Cedric Tillman had 5 of 52. David Njoku had 3 for 37. This team, this Browns team, it looks not as bad as we thought it would, but they're just not good enough to beat the Ravens, especially in their home stadium. I mean, the Ravens just too good to go against here. Put up 40 points against the Bills, still lost. They're going to be looking for revenge versus the Ravens. I mean, Lamar and Derrick Henry popped off versus the Bills. Lamar was 14-19, 209 yards, 2 TDs. Derrick Henry was 18 carries, 169 yards, 2 TDs. Zay Flowers was 7 receptions, 143, and a TD. I mean, this team, Lamar Jackson had 6 carries for 70 yards and a touchdown on the ground. This team, it's too hard to go against. So I'm taking Ravens over the Browns here in week 2. Bears at Lions. Honestly, both these teams coming off hard losses. Obviously, Bears lost to the Vikings by 3, and the Lions lost to a division opponent by 14. Both these teams, I mean, Jared Goff threw a pick. He was 31 to 39, pretty efficient, accurately. David Montgomery only had 11 carries for 25 yards. Not a lot. Sam Laporta, 6 receptions, 79 yards. And this defense for the Lions, I mean, they didn't put up anything defensively. They put up basically nothing. And that's just not how you want to win football games. The Bears, they at least looked decent. Caleb Williams, 21 to 35, 210 and a touchdown. Also had 6 carries for 58 and a touchdown on the ground. DJ Moore had 3 receptions for 68 yards in this game. And honestly, this team just looks better at the moment. I mean, they had multiple sacks against this Vikings team who was good last year. And this Bears team just happened to lose to a shortcoming by their team. I mean, they just happened to do some bad stuff in the fourth quarter, gave up a lot of points to the Vikings, and that's just how they lost this game. They shouldn't have lost. I even picked them to win, I think. So, it's honestly just tough to see by this Bears team. But I think they can pull out a sneak-out win in Detroit. But do I have them do that? I don't know, honestly. This game's tough to predict. This Bears team looked better last week, but it's the Lions. They still have a bunch of talent, and I think they can rebound against the Bears in week 2. I'm going to take them in a presumably close game here in Detroit. Broncos at Colts. I'm going to say right out the gate, I'm picking the Broncos. I don't trust Daniel Jones to be consistent with this new team. Obviously, he did look good versus the Dolphins, but the Dolphins were a shaky team coming into this. I don't see how they keep this up against the best defense, one of the best defenses in the league, versus the Broncos. Even if they are at home, I see this Broncos team winning, obviously. Bo Nix looked really good last year. He looked pretty bad against the Titans, if I do say. 25 of 40, 176, a touchdown, 2 picks though, but this rushing attack did look decent. I mean, the Broncos had 6 carries for R.J. Harvey. He had 70 yards, and J.K. Dobbins had 16 with 63 and a TD. Bo Nix had 18 for 18, which not great, but they tried to really establish this ground game. Courtland Sutton did good, 6 receptions, 61 yards, and a TD. I think the Broncos are just too good of a team here. They're gonna bounce back after a hardly good win over the Titans. I think they're gonna bounce back here in week 2 versus the Colts in Indianapolis. Next up, Panthers at Cardinals. This is gonna be a bad/good game. If both of these teams do like they're supposed to, and they actually do what they need to do, these teams can be good. But I'm going to take the Cardinals here solely because they're just the better team. And I think that they just need to bounce back after a shameful win over the Saints in week 1. Obviously, the Panthers got wrecked by the Jaguars by 16 points. Bryce Young didn't look that good. 18 of 35, 154 yards, a TD, 2 picks. Chuba Hubbard was kind of a bright spot for this team, but this team couldn't do much offensively. Only had 255 total yards, not a bunch of passing yards. Good rushing attack, though. Not better than the Jaguars, though, who had 200 yards on the ground. They allowed more sacks. They had tough turnovers, and I think the Cardinals are going to come out of this game I mean, Kyler Murray looked good, 21 to 29, 163, 2 TDs. Trey Benson had some good carries, 8 carries, 69 yards. Marvin Harrison really looked good in this game with 5 receptions, 71 yards, and a TD. Trey McBride's obviously one of the better tight ends in this league, and in this defense, while not really getting turnovers, they forced the Saints to punt, and they got 1 sack on them despite taking 5 sacks themselves. They won by 7. I can't dock them down for that. But I'm going to take the Saints here. Oh, I mean the Cardinals here. I'm going to take the Cardinals here over the Panthers in probably one of the worst games of this Week 2 slate. Eagles at Chiefs, Super Bowl rematch. Kansas City obviously goes packing in Super Bowl LIX versus the Eagles. I mean, this Eagles team looked really good. They just need to stay disciplined. They almost lost to the Cowboys because Jalen Carter couldn't keep his spit in his mouth. The Chiefs, though, looked really good versus this Chargers team. It's just they took a lot of injuries. I mean, Patrick Mahomes had a good game, but Xavier Worthy got hurt, and this game was just bad for the Chiefs. This defense looked really good for the Chiefs. It's just Justin Herbert and this Chargers offense was really doing what they needed to do. The defense was pulling their weight as well. I mean, the Chargers had more total offense, more passing yards, 8 less rushing yards, more yards per play, more first downs, more third down efficiency, and they just did better. They had less punts. They didn't throw a single turnover. Neither did the Chiefs, but they punted one more time, and that's just what costs these close games. So, despite a tough loss, the Eagles barely scaved out themselves versus this Cowboys team. Jalen Hurts looked good. I watched this game. It looked good. It really did. Jalen Hurts was efficient on the ground, was efficient in the air. Jahan Dotson, I made an edit of him because I thought he did really good himself. And he's really underrated, I'd like to say. But this Eagles defense did jack squat. And I'd like to say the Eagles have the dub here. And I'd like to say the Chiefs have the dub here. I can't say either do right now. But if I were to definitively come out with an answer on this one, honestly, I'd have to pick the Eagles to win again. Away from home, I know the Chiefs fans are one of the most gruesome to go into. But the Chiefs have no receivers. They got Juju Smith-Schuster, they got Hollywood Brown. Xavier Worthy's out. This team, I just don't know how it gets an efficient passing game. And obviously, Patrick Mahomes, he's one of the better quarterbacks. He can do whatever he wants. But if you don't have the targets for him, he just can't. I know he's efficient on the ground with his legs. So is Jalen Hurts, and this defense with Jalen Carter back is just going to be enough to smother this Kansas City Chiefs team in Kansas. So I'm taking Eagles over Chiefs. Falcons on prime time versus the Vikings. Both teams coming off, Falcons coming off a loss, Vikings coming off a win, a close win, a comeback fourth quarter win versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. No, the Chicago Bears. My bad. Anyways, Falcons, obviously, they almost beat the Bucs. Michael Penix, really good. Bijan Robinson, obviously he's really good. 6 receptions, 100 yards, and a TD. He's the best running back in this league. Not the best rushing running back, but the best receiving back, the best overall back in this league, obviously. I mean, this Falcons team had more passing yards, more total yards by 100. 40 less rushing yards, more yards per play. They had more first downs. They were less efficient on third down, however, but they had more fourth down efficiency than this Bucs team. They had less punts. Both teams led up the same amount of sacks, and they still lost because of the missed kick. And I'm like to say that defines a team, but it doesn't. A missed kick, it doesn't happen often unless your kicker is really bad. This Vikings team, it proved itself in the fourth quarter, scoring 21 versus the Bears. J.J. McCarthy had 13 of 20, 143, 2 touchdowns, and a pick. Jordan Mason, 15 carries, 68 yards. Not great. Receiving, Aaron Jones was their leading receiver with one less reception than Justin Jefferson and the same amount of yards. Both had TDs, though. There's just not a whole lot to go off of. Both these teams looked kind of rough at the start of their week one. But the Vikings came out to win, and the Falcons are obviously coming off a missed kick. And this game could go either way, but I'm going to take the Falcons over the Vikings. I know I've been doubting the Vikings. But the fourth quarter comebacks don't happen often. And I just don't think it's one of these things where either team is better than the other. They're both mediocre. They're both playoff teams. They're both on that wild card seat. Or the Falcons are obviously fighting for their division versus the Bucs. But neither team showed really what they can do. Both teams could have won or lost their week one games, and I don't think that is a winning formula for this Viking team. Obviously, to put up 21 points in the fourth quarter is not a lot. You gotta be efficient the entire game to show you're a team that's capable of fighting an entire game. This Falcons team was capable of fighting an entire game. They just missed a kick. That's why they lost week one. They got some good players. Michael Penix looked good. Bijan Robinson looked good. They got receiver talent. They got a defense. While not doing so good in week one, I think the Falcons are going to skate the win here over the Vikings on Sunday night prime time. Monday night prime time, 2 Monday night games. Make that make sense. Buccaneers at Texans. Both of these teams, both really good. Texans, although didn't do really good in their week one game, I still think they're a good team. They got a really good defense. They need C.J. Stroud to pull his weight. C.J. Stroud didn't do good last week, 19 to 27, 188 yards and a pick. Nick Chubb wasn't that efficient, 13 carries, 60 yards. Obviously, they don't have that. They don't have their receiver talent. They still got Nico Collins, Dalton Schultz, but they gotta do better than that. This defense is really good. I think they can win football games for the Texans. However, this Buccaneers team, it just looked really good. Obviously, versus the Falcons. It was a close win. They won off a missed field goal. I get that. Baker Mayfield was 17 to 32, which wasn't great, but he had 167 yards and 3 TDs. And he had 5 carries for 39 yards. And Mika Egbuka looked like a straight dog out there. 4 receptions, 67 yards, and 2 TDs. Mike Evans still got it. 5 receptions, 51 yards. Bucky Irvin got in the passing game a little bit. Averaged 2 yards per receptions, but he still got a receiving touchdown. This defense had 1 sack on the day, which, while not great, I think they can do better than that. I think I'm going to have the Buccaneers over the Texans here on Monday Night Primetime in Houston. I just think they're the better team. They're the better overall team. They can get the job done versus this Houston Texans team. And finally, for the last game on this Week 2 slate, Chargers at Raiders. I'd like to say this is pretty self-explanatory. Chargers just came off a win against the Chiefs, one of the better teams in this league. Justin Herbert, 25 to 34 yards, 318 yards, 25 to 34 completion rate, 318 yards, 3 TDs in the air. Murray Hampton, he's got to get better, but he's a rookie. We expected this. Quentin Johnston looked really, really good. 5 receptions, 79 yards, 2 TDs. Ladd McConkey still got it. Keenan Allen still got it. This team looks insane, especially to add on to a decent defense. Of course, the Chargers, they can win football games, and they just showed they can beat Super Bowl caliber teams, and I think the Chargers are going to do enough here to win against the Raiders. Obviously, Raiders coming off a close win against the Patriots, one of the weaker teams in this league, to put it. Judah Smith, 24, 34, 362 yards, a touchdown and a pick. Ashton Genty didn't look that great. 19 carries, 38 yards, and a touchdown. Brock Bowers still kept his heat going. Both teams allowed 4 sacks in this game, however. Raiders punted one last time, and that's how they won this game. Both teams threw a pick. I think the Chargers have Justin Herbert. He's a good QB. He's not going to throw picks like that. And I think the Chargers are going to do enough to beat the Raiders in their state in Allegiant Stadium on Monday night primetime game 2, which is at 10 p.m. for some reason. Make it make sense. Thank you so much for watching. These are my week 2 predictions. If you hate it, if you hate it, you hate it. If you like it, you like it. But please feel free to argue my opinions. These are just my thoughts. These are my opinions on these games. I think some of these games could go either way. It just depends on how these teams play and if they live up to their expectations or not. Thank you so much for watching, though. I appreciate every single one of you. Obviously, like the video if you made it this far because you spent 35 fucking minutes watching it. If you hate it, well, I don't care. Subscribe if you want. I mean, I don't know how to make one of these freaking outros, but I appreciate every single one of you for watching, and I'll see you for week 3 predictions. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.